by the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
The government is back open. I'm Hanadoba with more on the temporary funding deal that now sets the stage for a battle in Congress over a final budget and DACA. Young immigrants brought to the U.S. illegally as children.
And the Bozeman City Commission makes a decision not to decide what to do about competing plans for a law and justice center. Coming up, what commissioners have to say and why they decided to put a vote off on that issue. Good morning, 6:29 here on your Tuesday. The federal government gets back up and running today. 3 days into the shutdown, lawmakers agreed another short-term spending deal. Now, there was plenty of finger-pointing over who is to blame for the impasse. As CBS's Hanadoba explains, though, their work is far from being over. Lawmakers have now less than 3 weeks to try to come up with a final budget.
The motion to concur is agreed to.
The governmental shutdown is over. President Trump, after signing the short-term funding extension passed by both chambers of Congress, tweeted, "Big win for Republicans as Democrats cave on shutdown. Now I want a big win for everyone, including Republicans, Democrats, and DACA, but especially for our great military and border security." Democrats, though, say the president is not to thank, insisting he was absent for most of the negotiations.
The great deal-making president sat on the sidelines.
Look, what the president did clearly worked.
The bill, which includes a 6-year extension of the children's health insurance program, funds the government only through February 8th. This is now the 4th time this fiscal year Congress has agreed to a short-term spending measure rather than a full budget.
When is enough enough? It shouldn't take you a full calendar year to do your basic work.
Senate Democrats agreed to support the bill after Republican leaders committed to addressing DACA, young immigrants brought here illegally as children, so-called dreamers.
Now those talks can get going again. Whether they bear fruit is up to all of us.
To all the dreamers who are watching today, don't give up.
Leadership on both sides say much of the thanks for ending the shutdown goes to a bipartisan group of about 24 senators who worked behind the scenes on a compromise. Hanadoba, CBS News.
Now, as a part of the spending bill, government workers who still had to report for duty during the shutdown will get back pay for those hours. So good to know there's some type of progress being made, even though there's a lot more to follow on this. How are we doing for the start of our Tuesday?
You know, it's not bad. We have some very chilly temperatures. It's going to be kind of a raw start to the morning. The good news is we don't have a lot of wind, just enough wind to put a little bite in the air for sure. Temperatures into the single digits and teens for most, 6 below in West Yellowstone. Skies, we have a thin layer of clouds trying to work their way through our skies right now. We'll see the skies trying to cloud up as you get later into the day. Our temperature should be into the mid to upper 20s, low 30s for the afternoon. Today remains dry, but we do have more snow on the way. We're going to talk more about that, of course, coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Matt. Our top local story for you now. A missing toddler in Butte has been found safely. An endangered person advisory was issued by the Butte Silverbow law enforcement last night for 2-year-old Legend Ryan White. Police report that Legend was given to Julie Gardner, an acquaintance of the child's father. Officials said there had been no contact with Gardner or Legend since he was given to her, and there was reason to believe that Gardner may have been under the influence of drugs. There is no additional information about Gardner or the circumstances in which the child was found at this time. And Bozeman City Commissioners voted unanimously on Monday evening to further the study options for the existing Law and Justice Center. Assistant City Manager Chuck Wynn detailed the two options: building a joint law enforcement building for both Bozeman Police and Gallatin County Sheriff's Office, or opening a public safety complex that would house Bozeman Police, Fire, and Municipal Courts on the property that the city owns on Rouse Avenue. And after public comment and discussion, commissioners felt more time was needed for due diligence and to give voters the information that they would need to decide on that issue.
I hope you vote against both of these proposals. Really, the collaboration between the chief and the sheriff and having those officers and those detectives right next to each other to where they just walk a number of feet and be able to sit down and talk with their fellow law enforcement officers has tremendous benefit to the citizens of this county. You really shouldn't consider breaking that up.
Now, for details on the plan of the commissioners that they are considering, visit us at our websites. And in other news, a little bit of a follow-up for a story we gave you yesterday. A man shot by 2 Yellowstone County Sheriff's deputies early Sunday morning said he did not fire his own gun. New details are out from the Yellowstone County Sheriff Mike Linder. It all started before 6:30 on Sunday morning at a home on the 1900 block of Canary Avenue in Lockwood. It was around then that deputies were dispatched to a welfare check on a man who was reportedly suicidal. MTN's Samantha Harrelson has details from the scene.
After reviewing dash cam footage from the deputy's car, Sheriff Mike Linder says everything happened very fast. He says that video shows the 2 deputies walking up to the door. The door opens just a little before closing and then opening again. The man inside came to the door with a handgun. Within seconds, shots rang out. 4 shots were fired in total. The man was hit just once in the torso. Sheriff Linder told me one of the deputies involved said the man started to raise his gun in the deputy's direction before they fired those shots. The man who was shot was transported to a local hospital but is expected to survive. Linder said they do plan on interviewing that man in the next couple of days. His identity has not yet been released. In Lockwood, Samantha Harrelson, back to you.
Thank you, Samantha. Now, both of those deputies involved have been placed on administrative leave pending the results of an internal review. And the woman who was injured in a shooting in Butte last week has been released from the hospital. Butte police report 31-year-old woman was shot in the upper back while sitting in the backseat of a car that was parked near McGruff and Manning Park early Thursday morning. The incident happened after another vehicle pulled into the parking lot. The gunman got out and fired at least 2 shots into the parked car. Police have not made an arrest in this case so far. And more announcements as we head into the 2018 election season. Gallatin County Sheriff Brian Goodkin has officially filed to run for re-election. Goodkin, who was elected sheriff for the first time in 2012, has held the position ever since. He said that he is still loving being sheriff and providing public safety for the county. Sheriff is the only elected position in law enforcement, and Goodkin says he wouldn't have it any other way.
I think being elected is incredible because I answer directly to the people, and so I don't have I don't answer to the county commissioners. I don't have a mayor or a manager in charge of me. So I think that's unique to the office of the sheriff, is that I answer directly to the people.
And as of today, no one else has filed to run against Goodkin. Taking a quick break. Up next, it is your Montana Made Spotlight of the Week. In a moment, the story of a German goldsmith gal that calls Missoula home. Stay here to meet Lexi Butler in just a moment. But first, a look at your headlines right here at CBS at 7 a.m.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS this morning, we're on breaking news, tracking tsunami warnings and watches from Alaska to the Mexican border. And you'll meet singer-songwriter Khalid, who is nominated for 5 Grammys, less than 2 years after graduating from high school. See you at 7.